It's Doomsday! Oh my god, it's Doomsday. What the shit streaked on the ruse of all that's good and holy, is it? Look to the skies and see the blazing eye of the Lord upon you. Look to the earth and recoil from the dusty bones of the dead, alive and hungry through the scabrous cracks in the sidewalk. Look upon these wretched beasts, these stooges of the dimension infernal, and tell me with trembling lip and misty tear that this cannot be the day of judgment on which all sins must be weighed, on which saint and sinner alike cower from the angel with the flaming sword, who lays waste to the roadhouse, to the den of iniquity, the long-tongued liar, the midnight rider, the gambler, the rambler, the backbiter. Tell me the fraggers ain't gonna cut them down. Oh yes, Crusaders, welcome back to Doomsday, and one further welcome, if you please, to the second episode of our rampage through this trial of champions that men call Final Doom, here in TNT Evolution, made crueler still and damn near unwinnable with the Project Brutality mod. A small rebalance to the original game that bends down, ruffled your hair with contempt, a midday drink on its breath, laughing, "Aw, look at you. The big tough space marine managed to get good at Doom. Isn't that adorable? Do we need to make it an itsy bit more grown up for you? Okay, well, now everything can kill you in 3 fucking shots and explodes like a car bomb when you kill it. Okay, champ? Now go fuck your mother and die in a house fire, you shit-eating little fuck. We had ourselves a relatively calm introduction to its outlandish barbarity last time on Doomsday. Not calm by any sane balance of the imagination, of course, but you know, calm for this channel. But we're going to start seeing a swift and terrible retraction of that mercy over the next few stages, starting here in MAP07, Prison. Now this is actually a pretty pedestrian stage as far as the design goes, but it elevates itself by spreading its rooms over this mid-sized outdoor area, complete with flaming motes of flaming flamery, and filling each and every inch of itself with claustrophobic firefights against hell barons and their benighted chums. On your marks, get set. Ah! Hey, wankers, the lot of you! Ah! Ah, do forgive me. I love winding these turds up. The actual prison from the map name is maybe the toughest part here, but they rip the balls off of it with an invulnerability orb to grab just before you make the drop down there, so this winds up serving as a fair benchmark for the kind of intensity you can expect to face throughout the rest of Evolution as a whole. Now, last time on Doomsday, I talked a lot about the development of TNT Evolution, and so this week, I want to start explaining to you exactly how Project Brutality came to be, and exactly what kind of changes it makes to the core Doom gameplay, behind the obvious blood and guts and armies and expanded arsenal/enemy roster. To do that, we need to start way back with the mod that Project Brutality acts as an expansion for, one that you've surely already heard of, possibly the most famous Doom mod of all time, Brutal Doom. First showing its face in 2011, Brutal Doom is the work of Marcos Abernante, known more widely by the handle Sergeant Mark IV, a Brazilian programmer from Sao Paulo. The Brutal Doom was only the first of Abernante's many mods and projects. A couple of my very favourites of his include a full working motorcycle for Doom 2, and the real icon of Sin, the complete redesign of the deeply disappointing final boss of the same game, that transforms it from a vaguely hostile shit-talking wall mural into a full-bodied winged demon king that spits out fireballs, heat-seeking lightning strikes and supersonic screams. But Brutal Doom has always been the most prolific, beloved and updated of all his ventures. Now it started out life as nothing better than a gore mod with a handful of weaponry skins. And I mean, it was a hell of a gore mod. Make no mistake, if you were in the market for a gore mod, you weren't getting anything more ludicrous than Brutal Doom around 2011. One single pistol shot to a former Marine and the entire room looked like somebody had dropped Dracula's fucking shopping for the week. It was just Ninja Scroll levels of plasma porn. And I mean, that's how I first encountered it, in that bare bones state. And it was a cool novelty, you know, but it certainly wasn't a regular addition to my mod queue. And one of the nastier things that Brutal Doom springs on you is that the dark areas have gone from being just dark to as pitch black as the devil's heart. So we need to make some candles! Happy birthday to you! I melted your shoes, cremated your surprise party, and I fucked your cake too. Hooray! Make a fucking wish. What? Water? You can't tell me, silly. No, it won't come true. You see here, don't you? Coming down here without the invincibility pickup is a bloody terrible idea. Caught in one giant crossfire of imps and hell barons. Actually recalls that hideous section back in the industrial zone from Doom 2 where there's about 20 imps lurking in the cages around the top of the room, bombing your soul out your body. There we go. Frees up some space down here, doesn't it? The judges from Hell Court don't have to hand down any more soft community service sentences through fear of overcrowding now. I'm just a servant of the fucking community, me. You have got to wonder, haven't you, what a demon would have to do to get put in prison. It's already a demon, it's already the ultimate embodiment of purest evil. Like, what's it done that the other demons have gone, oh, come on now, that's a bit much that. They're all out on the town of a Friday, having a laugh, getting tanked up, possessing Christians and going, "Where's your faith now, Father?" to the parish priests while making the wardrobe breakdance down the stairs. And then one of them goes, yeah, watch this, and sticks a baby up his ass. And the rest of them are just like, fucking hell, mate, come on. We were just messing around, but that's... Mate, take it out your ass, can't breathe. What you... Oh, I was only having a laugh, don't be like that. No, Moloch, it's the same every fucking week. You always take it too far, don't you? What was it last week? Look how many puppies I can cock slap to death. The fuck is wrong with you? So yeah, Brutal Doom. Gore mod extraordinaire. And so I hadn't really kept up too closely with its development until a bunch of you fine folks started getting on my case about including it in Doomsday. Wasn't particularly thrilled by the idea at first, to be honest, but on closer inspection, my, how it had grown. Now, even at its most basic level, the ridiculous gallons of blood had been replaced by a more subtly effective system of complex jibs and decal stains and remains, but it had also evolved far beyond its splatter effects. There were now fatality animations, remastered sprites for enemies and weapons, new enemy attacks, new weapons, damage tweaks, lovely little environmental flourishes like flowing dynamic water, slime and lava. After a quick run through the first episode, I had to concede, yeah, I actually wouldn't mind a full play of this at some point. But we don't do things by halves on this channel, lovelies. Project Brutality is, in every conceivable way, Brutal Doom's rightful heir, sporting an extended arsenal, greater difficulty, and, my personal favourite touch, brand new, tough as fuck monster variants to take down. Give me a sec here, this son of a bitch is always... Yeah, fuck off, coward. You see that? You're not sure what I telefragged right there, but always happens to me when I play this map. One of the monsters from the outside area ducks into that teleporter and hides in there to balls up my 100% kill count. I always have to go back for him, without fail. I could stand guard there and do the entire outdoors shootout right in front of that teleporter, and the gutless little fuck would still find a way to sneak in there. But, yeah, you should start to see those monster variants appearing properly in this episode of Doomsday, but they'll be swarming over us back to front by the time we hit the secret levels, I promise you. I promise you something else as well. I'm absolutely going to get my arse handed to me here in Map 8. Meta! Wow! Hail Satan, kids! Why ride the bus when you can ride the devil's big red dick? One of the first real difficulty spikes I noticed that Project Brutality brings to the table is actually right here in this stage. Just because it has so many former Marines and Sergeants making up its monster list. And that is hit scanners don't hit scan anymore. They fire actual bullets and arcing shell blasts, and they do so with ridiculous fucking accuracy. So when you got a dozen or so of them gunning for you at once, you no longer got that RNG game to fall back on to protect you. This room is absolutely hideous. If I hadn't thrown that mine down to cover myself there, I'd have 5 shotgun blasts to the side of my head by now from surprise spawning sergeants. More naughty imps in here, like... Did you just say that Toto are better than Slayer? Get in the fucking cage. But yeah, I mean, hit scanners abandoning hit scan is just one example of how Project Brutality forces you into a new playstyle and shifts the dynamics of large portions of Doom. Outside of this mod, the Plutonia experiment has always been the tougher half of Final Doom thanks to its fixation with upper tier enemies. EVILUTION almost seemed to be a refugee camp for all the former Marines that Plutonia didn't want stinking up its jungles, chain gunners excluded. But in my preemptive run-throughs of both episodes, I died a whole fucking bunch more here on EVILUTION, almost entirely because my tried and true tactics that I'd fallen back on for nearly 2 decades to get me through this ordeal just did not work anymore. You cannot go toe to toe with a flash mob of these fuckers under Project Brutality. They're faster even than what you face on vanilla Nightmare mode. Better armed, far more aggressive, they can roll out the way of your fucking shots. And you'll have noticed already that one of the most basic enemy variants that this mod has to offer is that it will occasionally swap out your standard rifle wielding former Marine, which, worth reminding you, in the midst of this fucking chaos, only appeared to be armed with a rifle in the original game, but was really doing pistol damage. They now occasionally show up wielding actual assault rifles and fucking chain guns. And on top of that, their combat AI, along with that of the sergeants, has been greatly improved. They can now move backwards to evade you, and should you happen to blow one of their limbs off without it being the killing blow, they'll enter a last stand mode where they yank out a pistol and pop you for a good 8 to 10 rounds before finally keeling over. And these are the lowest ranking enemies in the game we're talking about. And we haven't even seen a quarter of the variants available for them. What the fuck? And see, that's really what makes Project Brutality and Brutal Doom in general truly worth playing for me. Not only are there well clear of 30 new monsters to tangle with, but the existing ones have been purposefully rebuilt to give you the joy of almost having to relearn Doom again after however many long years you thought you knew it. You know, is it a little bit 13-year-old edgelord wet dream? Yeah, it is. You know, it's based on the infamous Doom promotional comic. It's gonna be, but I think it deserves all the credit in the world for growing out from the gratuitous vanilla gore mod that it started life as into something as sharply transformative of the original experience as you see here. Talking of seeing shit, how about those new fucking spectres that you fucking can't? They're a joy, aren't they? They're the spectres, as much as I absolutely despise and fear their presence in Brutal Doom, are undoubtedly one of the smartest adjustments of the mod. I imagine that id themselves would have gone in a very similar direction had they been originally capable of it. You know, the spectres were only ever a real pain in the arse in darker areas. There was of course that classic finale to the Phobos lab back in the first Doom where a pitch black room is illuminated only with an intermittently strobing light and is bristling with the ghastly little bastards, inviting you to make a mad dash for the night vision goggles tucked away in one of the wall alcoves. But anywhere besides the most gloomy of surroundings, you'd have to say they weren't exactly imperceptible, were they? Only really in comparison to their demon brethren, who are, of course, bright fucking pink. But here, Christ save you, the only hint you get that they're coming are those 2 pale red eyes bobbing towards you, strafing left, right, all over the fucking place, only revealing themselves when they've already got their teeth into you, and that makes them an incredible threat even in the most well-lit of areas. You got yourself a dizzying climb up this chamber of horrors now. Each of the 4 upper areas here has a switch that opens up gradually more of the room, and each one also comes with an absolutely darling free gift, a close quarters disagreement with a full swarm's worth of imps, pinkies and former Marines. The imps, as I'm sure you've noticed by now, have become a ludicrous gang of spiky dickheads, not least by their newfound love of leaping upwards of 40 feet into the air and running along the ceiling to flank you. But they've also picked up the pouncing attack that they had in Doom 3. And naturally their fireball attacks also come at you a lot faster, and they're rather fond of pelting two at you in quick succession as well. Now the former Marines aren't the only monsters to get a shot at a last stand mode in Brutality. You see the Pinky back there lamenting the loss of his arm. From that he'll either just keel over or go berserk with a speed and damage bonus before he eventually bleeds out. If you mortally wound a Spectre, they'll do exactly the same thing. They lose their powers of camouflage just as soon as you hurt them bad enough. Oh yeah, oh, do you like the new HUD? Said I was going to swap it out last episode, didn't I? Nothing too fancy or intrusive. Fucking loathe over busy HUDs. Just a little something that actually keeps an accurate ammo count for the greatly expanded offensive arsenal we find ourselves with. You get Doom Guy's face, you got your bullet, armor and key count, like, what more do you need? Really? All personal preference, of course. Some of them, whoa, Christ, forgot about you lot, bloody hell. Some of them even keep a visual record of what monsters you got left to kill, complete with thumbnails, which is cool and all, but very fucking cluttery. So long, Metal. Hello, Stronghold. How many times have I bloody told you not to stack the nuke barrels around key tactical points in the base? How many times? I love the beginning of this map. Whether all the excessive additional gore and dismemberment of Brutal Doom is to your personal taste or not, you gotta admit, it makes blowing the barrels up a practically pornographic experience. We can't get those guys in the window there yet, kind of a cool little illusion designed to steal a shotgun shell or two off of your initial attempts to pick them off. Stronghold should be a suitably ominous description of the level of resistance you're up against here, but if not, let's just go with Hit Scanner Hell. This map is punishing enough in its unmodded vanilla form, sporting close to 300 enemies, well over half of which are sergeants and chain gunners, but Brutal Doom ups that hurt factor by swapping their RNG scanning out of a big old middle finger in your face. More claustrophobic tech basey pudding for you and yours. They could have really called this entire thing tech-based turpitude. It certainly does help if you like yourself a tech-based theme, does Evolution. Ah, Christ, there's more of them up there. You know, of all the monster variants in the entirety of Project Brutality, I think I might just hate the Riot Shield Sergeants the most. They are nothing more agreeable than a pox upon your ballsack. The Riot Shields give them complete immunity from pistol, rifle, shotgun and standard chain gun damage. They can also sponge splash damage from rockets and grenades. So you wind up having to hope you can catch them while they're turning around, or else you'll have to switch out to something that can melt through their defenses. Plasma rifles probably most cost effective, but a direct wallop with a rocket will sort them out too. Like the new Spectres, they're around to just give you a real fucking headache in your effort to take out the already mortiferous mobs roaming about by making you cycle your weapons mid-fight. Not as bad as the Spectres, who are just an outright zoning threat, but just a little pine needle in your ear hole. Just a little bit of mud in your eye that you don't need. You saw back there, I think for the first time too, the new zombie scientists, the axe-wielding fuckers in the lab coats. They randomly take the place of a few of the former Marines, and they will clump you for absolutely devastating damage if you let them get on top of you. I don't think this mod has got it, but the last build of standalone Brutal Doom let you pick up their axes as well. I normally got one by now, but then you usually run into the zombie scientists way before this map. A lot of the times on the very first one. See, Project Brutality uses as a default setting what it calls a dynamic progression spawn preset, which essentially means that it's never set in stone exactly what kinds of enemies you're going to encounter, or which weapons you're going to pick up. Now, early on in the game, that's not such a huge deal, but as we drive deeper into Evolution and you start seeing some of the utterly terrifying monster variants that are going to be howling for your blood, it adds a real element of dread and surprise to maps you'd otherwise know like the back of your hand. Now here for the moment, we're just dealing with minor tweaks that you wouldn't even notice casually. You know, the former Marines and Sergeants with helmets, for example, are slightly more aggressive than those without. The heavy machine gun commando variant hits you for a little more damage, but Christ help us when we turn a corner expecting to take out a pain elemental and come across an overlord, or prepare for battle with a spider mastermind and find ourselves fleeing from a fucking juggernaut. Don't even get me going on the arch-vile flesh wizards. Now let's talk about some of these new weapons, because it's not all pain and misery, or indeed doom and gloom. From the bottom upwards, starting with the bare bones melee attack, right on through higher to the BFG, Project Brutality weighs those dreaded scales that are stacked against you down just the tiniest bit by furnishing you with some serious ordnance enhancements. Whoa, check him out. That's a blood demon, thank you very much. Tougher, quicker and deadlier than your standard pinky. Not by enough though. And virtually every gun and close quarters weapon in the game has a primary, secondary and separate alternate fire mode, as well as a smattering of ferocious upgrades to find. Your bare hands and feet alone are now the deadliest of deadly things. You can punch with both fists, launch uppercuts and roundhouse kicks, even chain them all together into a combo. You've also got a Duke Nukem style mighty boot attack mapped to a separate key that doesn't do insane damage on its own, but is most useful for stunning some of the weaker enemies by kicking them away from you. If you're feeling particularly insolent, you can even use it to hoof a Hell Baron or Hell Knight straight in the balls for a chance to drop it to its knees and watch it howl in pain, which is, yeah, alright, it's maybe a little too far along Brutal Doom's more outwardly juvenile spectrum for a lot of players, but be honest with yourself. You'd want to do it just one time, wouldn't you? Don't lie. They think they're such hot shit, don't they? Striding about the place with their fucking hairy legs, jacked up on hellroids. You know you want to bring them down a peg. You know you want to show them that it doesn't matter whether you're 9.5 foot tall demonic royalty or a little fat kid with too much lunch money. Everybody goes down from a boot to the Billy Swingers. If you want to add a little spice to your kick, you can go ahead and use it in mid-air for a Liu Kang style flying attack. See, I'm not comfortable enough with Project Brutality yet to work all this into my casual play, you understand? I'll show it off for you once I'm good and settled in. I haven't played this mod that much, honestly. I usually rather play new maps than mods. It's only because you lot asked for this, although, as I say, I am pleasantly surprised by how far Brutal Doom's come along. I was kind of worried that a lot of these changes would break the game, but you know, while it's a very different experience, it has kept the core sensibilities of Doom close to heart. You're not going to get the full benefit of the melee attack until you pick up the Berserk pack in Brutal Doom, thanks to the game's fatality system. Huge range of creative finishes available for your amusement, and this is really maybe the most potent accusation made against last year's reboot Doom, plagiarizing features from this mod, because it is essentially the exact same fucking thing. You beat or shoot a monster down to a dazed state, rip them to pieces, and you're rewarded with a health bonus. The difference here is that I don't feel compelled to use that fatality system, which, as I say, is good for a laugh the first few times, but quickly runs out of chuckles, especially considering that some of the animations run for 4 or 5 seconds at a time. Whereas in Reboot Doom, I felt fucking cornered into doing it, you know? Christ, this is getting hairy now, isn't it? So the Berserk pack, which you can also gain the benefits of by grabbing a demonic rune pickup, one of the new power-ups in Brutal Doom that grants you the Berserker abilities for the rest of the current map. The Berserk pack isn't just a health and damage bonus anymore. It allows you to pull off some truly hilarious shit. You can actually grab hold of wounded marines and tow them around as meat shields against enemy fire. You can grab a lost soul and pelt it straight into a motherfucker's crusted demon beak. You can even pick up the toxic barrels and hurl them at crowds of monsters, which never seems to be the grandest plan, given how you can almost smell them shitting themselves with joy that you were stupid enough to pick the damn thing up, as you're now basically begging to be torn into milkshake from one semi-accurate pistol shot. There's a fatality you can pull off on the sergeants where you just straight up yank their fucking head off their shoulders, which you're then allowed to keep and wander around with as a throwable weapon. There is tons of close quarters fun this mod affords you with just the 2 hands God gave you alone. But don't get cocky, soldier. Don't start thinking that you're the only bee in the hive that can be pulling off them there fancy fatalities, because a fair chunk of your demonic pals will be only too happy to return the favour. Imps will tackle you to the ground and harvest your insides with their claws. Pinkies straight up bite your head and chest off. Hell Knights will curb stomp your head into pavement melon. Hell Barons will just tear you the fucking half like a paid bill. In fact, Hell Barons and Revenants have a particularly nasty ability that will come as a rare result of infighting. After beating the shit out of their hapless victim, they will quickly and very, very accurately throw their mangled corpses straight at you, which, if it connects, is a straight one-hit kill. In we go to Map 10, Redemption, an engaging little stage that uses its cozy corridors and attractive gardens as a shell-shock inducing ambush fest. One of the worst is right here at the start. As soon as you touch that button, you need to move your ass and make for the hidden side exit here to avoid a right old flank raping. This is Tom Mustang's first map since System Control at the start of the game, and he's just itching to remind you all about them false walls and how much angry, violent shit you can pack into them. Here's a cinematic moment for you. Say fuck you to the devil for me! I should have gone out backwards. You missed the trap wall coming down and a gang of imps wondering where I'd gone and what this strange blinking metal pancake was. Fuck, well, I suppose this would be a fine time to clue you in on the grenades and mines, two extremely useful new tools in your fight against the Prince of the North's finest. You can fling both out from an assigned hotkey, but if you want a little more control over your throat, you can equip them as weapons too. Grenades have the range advantage, whereas proximity mines are more powerful, but a lot rarer, and can easily kill you if you chuck them down too close to an advancing monster, as they instantly detonate once an enemy's in their blast radius. These fucking things are my best friends in Project Brutality. Oh, there's your first pain elemental variation, the suffering elemental. Telltale signs include the green palette swap, and the fact that he now discharges phantasms as opposed to lost souls. Again, essentially a lost soul with bigger horns, shorter temper, and the ability to explode for a nasty sting to your health bar upon death. Far worse awaits, I promise you. The progressive spawning's actually taking it pretty easy on me today, I have to say. Normally, it does something close to an admirable job restraining itself right up until you have the barefaced cheek to discover the first secret level. That seems to wind it right up. Oh, nice, right in the face. Wake up, fraggers. Jesus Christ. You see there, the Baron has himself a new attack where he charges... What are you doing in the corner, lad? Blair Witch get you? Where he charges 5 fireballs up for a spread burst, which, when I'm not being utterly dopey and playing like a fuckwit, will actually work to your advantage by slowing him down a lot of the time if you're taking him on at mid-range, which it bloody should be. Their cousins, the Hell Knights, don't get anything quite as spectacular, but they can rattle off 3 of their fireballs in quick succession, and they have a very unnerving rampage mode that seems to trigger if you have the audacity to shoot them in the face without killing them, where they literally leap across the screen at you and punch your fucking soul out your body. Utilize corners and pillars with the Knights, utilize them well. Dirty chain gunners being utterly dirty there. Fucking fat villains in games, always the absolute worst, aren't they? Here you are, you see the absolute state of that room now. Sorry you missed it. Piss off, Sir Lance, a loser. Bloody nobility in hell is a joke. Oh yeah! We'll finish today's little stroll on this one, I think. Map 11, storage facility. Get back in your hole, menial. Enjoy. What? You? How dare you not die in the manner I prescribe? Just for that, everybody suffers. I was gonna walk away. I was gonna let you have this stupid moon. I don't want it, but now... No, you've made your decision now, sorry. No backsies. Maybe next time you'll have the good grace to thank me for blessing you with one of my precious grenades. Grow some fucking manners and die from it. Discourteous. Churlish. See, these chaps know what's up. Good day to you too. Bit of respect, see? Welcome to the storage facility, home of one of the most rocking tunes in the game. Let's kill at will. Yes, yes. Let's. Storage facility has a question for you, child. Do you like crate mazes? Not really. Not. Ah, fucking hell, you sure? Because that's kind of storage facility. It's kind of his thing, you know. What? Oh, no, don't cry, storage facility. We'll find somebody that likes. No, I know you can't change who you are. I know. It's alright. But yeah, for a lot of mainstream players, this map is a grueling introduction to the three-dimensional crate maze. Really, one of those love it or hate it stage themes, I guess. This here's a top quality example though, with a diabolical sting in its tail. There's an archvile just here who takes fucking forever to turn up. Come on. You're late. Again. Everybody's dead, including you. Idiots. Now, there is a relatively low number of monsters on this one, around 140-ish. But the catch is that the vast majority of them are all about to attack you at once here. Once you climb up on top of the crates from the ground, you set off a trap that starts teleporting your enemies in both from this little corner here and another spot on the other side of the maze. Now they are fairly predictable in that they'll try and flank you by coming around from outside the building. Oh, right here. Where you sneaking off to, boys? Hot date, like. But yeah, you can see just juggle the two doors here and you have yourself a relatively pain-free time blasting them back. If you don't want to deal with them at all, you know, if you're not as anal about running the stages in UV max conditions as I am, those trigger points are very easily avoided so long as you... Where the fuck are you going? As long as you steer clear or just jump over them, you'll never have to contend with any of their interdimensional bullshits. You might have noticed how health and armor creeping over the usual 200 mark as well here. I honestly couldn't tell you what the max out is. I think the highest I've ever gotten either of them on this mod is just under 300, so I guess we'll see, but the usual rules apply. Berserk packs and medikits won't heal you over the standard 100 point limit. Mega spheres, soul spheres and mega armor still cap out at 200, but the armor and health shards can now take you clear of that, along with any demonic essence you pick up. That'd be the glowing red and lava coloured orbs you see our victims occasionally leaving when they die. The demonic essence gets a secondary purpose later on as ammo for the demon tech rifle too, but I can't imagine we'll run into anything that'll drop that for a while yet. This here's the last mass teleportation trap to deal with, and then we're more or less broken the back of the level. There we are. I'm not using the chainsaw as much as I usually do. I know that's only half to do with Project Brutality, honestly. EVILUTION's hit scan mobs don't lend themselves particularly well to close quarters affairs, even in its unmodded form. But the new chainsaw is a swipe and slash weapon, bit of a change from the lunging stun machine it originally was. Now this fucking secret down here. Don't get me bloody started, what a pain in the arse this is. First, oh, shit, sorry pal. Oh, you survived somehow, well done you. Right, just watch, and I'll explain it in a second. Alright, Megasphere, happy days. Now, the little alcove that it's in stays open for literally seconds, but the trigger to open it is on the ground floor behind the door for the lift, so you gotta bring the lift down, back out of the room, and make a mad dash for it just as it's going back up. Now occasionally that chain gunner that was up there does you a solid and keeps it open for you by planting his fat arse right in the doorway, but mercy me, what a dickhead. Final room now, you can see the new light amp goggles effect is pretty much a straight up night vision filter now. Very sexy indeed. Now funny enough, this is pretty much what the goggles were like way back in the price beta for the original Doom, before they swapped the effect out for a much simpler full brightness filter. Oh shit, thought I'd killed you. That arse must be quite the cushion, eh? Yeah, it didn't used to light up the monsters like this or anything, it was just a straight up colour map chunk. Just like the invulnerability sphere gives you, but There we are, I'm done for this week. Before we go, a spot of intermission literature for you to chew on. Plastic forks at the ready. You hear the grinding of heavy machinery ahead. You sure hope they're not stamping out new hellspawn, but you're ready to ream out a whole herd if you have to. They might be planning a blood feast, but you feel about as mean as 2,000 maniacs packed into one mad killer. You don't plan to go down easy. But plans are so easily led to ruin, and it's only getting tougher from here, Crusaders. Join me next week as day turns to coldest nights over the military base and we journey into Map 12, Crater.